Hi guys, my name is George and I run Yokto. We're a lifecycle marketing agency, a Klaviyo elite partner, and we specialize in subscription business models. We work with clients like Kilo Health, Jimmy Joy Health, Everyden, Heights, Freya Organics, Elevate Collagen, and frankly, multiple others. In this video, I'll show you the best KPIs to track as a subscription brand. I'm literally gonna share my screen and show you where to find the KPIs on Richard Subscriptions, which is the most popular subscription platform on Shopify. But frankly, everything I show you in this video is available one way or another in every subscription platform. So keep watching and make sure you subscribe, because this is one of many videos that I'm gonna be publishing in the coming months that will be extremely helpful for you if you're having a subscription-based company. Okay, so this is the Richard's dashboard, and the way to find what matters most in the subscription business is the following. You would head over to analytics, you would go to dashboards, you would go to revenue, and you would be opening revenue overview, and then you would be going to customers, and you will be opening customers overview and cohort performance. And then this is the revenue overview. And this is the first thing that matters, which is what percentage of revenue comes through subscription. This is extremely important, because if you are trying to build a subscription business, but the reality of it is that most of your customers are not buying subscription, you have a very big problem when it comes to how you sell your products, how you frame the subscription offering, how the landing pages are structured, the ads, etc. So this is the most fundamental KPI to track. What percentage of revenue is coming from subscription? And obviously, what you want to do is grow the number of subscription customers that you acquire relative to the one-time purchase customers. So this is the most fundamental thing, right? Then you have AOV related metrics, which is extremely important. You want to be tracking the AOV of subscription checkout orders, and then the AOV of recurring orders, which you can find down here. Now, what's the difference? Checkout AOV is basically, by the way, Richard has this beautiful thing that if you hover above every single item on the dashboard, it's gonna give you a definition. So it's basically new orders that include subscription. And then the recurring order AOV is those that are happening through recurring transactions, meaning as part of the subscription program. And obviously, you wanna make sure that the AOV of both your checkout and your recurring orders goes as high as is humanly possible, because the more money you get upfront, especially on the checkout order, the more you can invest back into the growth of your business. And then the recurring AOV is gonna go to your bottom line, because you don't need to repay to reacquire those customers. So both are equally important. Both have a lot to do with optimizing your front end offer. The second page that is extremely important is the customers overview. And what Richard does here beautifully is that it gives you those numbers here in a very clean overview. It tells you how many new subscribers you acquire, how many subscribers you reactivate, and how many subscribers you churn or lose. And obviously the game here is reduce those that you lose, grow those that you acquire or reactivate, so that this number here is positive and that your subscription program grows. If this number goes up over time, you are having a very healthy subscription business. And all of those things you can track separately. You can track reactivation rate, you can track churn rate. These are important, but the bottom line is, does this go up or no? That's the main KPI that you should be measuring. Am I growing, or am I stagnating, or am I actually shrinking, which is the worst case scenario? The third element is cohort performance. And you have essentially, cohort is nothing more than the grouping of customers in a specific interval. In this case, this number here, 555 subscribers that entered our business in February 2025. So it's all customers that started in that period of time. That's what a cohort is. And what this allows you to do is see performance over time. There is a video in this channel that talks about how to do a cohort analysis in detail. It's going to be very helpful for you to take a look if you don't know how to do a cohort analysis. But ultimately, what you're trying to do here is understand where the customer journey has issues, and when do people drop off, and when can you optimize, and when can you actually have a big impact on the overall business. This is good. What I find even more helpful is to be looking at the weighted average, because you may have a good month, but you also want to be looking how does the overall business look like in any specific part of the customer journey, whether that's month 0, whether that's month 5 or month 2 or any other month. So you want to be looking at this. And if you click here, you can see that there's like multiple other things that you can track. I'm going to add subscription orders here, and this gives you value of orders over time for every cohort, which is literally what it says up here. You can have AOV by month, subscription retention by order number, which is also quite helpful. You can see in many ways, this is more helpful than the monthly retention that's there by default, because you might be selling in, I don't know, 6-month intervals, in which case you'll see great retention from hopefully from month 0 to month 6, and then there's going to be a stark decrease. This allows you to kind of see how you perform over time, and it shows you what retention you have on a order by order basis. You can also include filters. You can filter by products or segments. I'm not going to do this because I don't want you to see what brand this is about. But yeah, you can basically have a very clear view of what is going on. And believe it or not, those are the main things you should be tracking as a subscription business. You should be tracking what percentage of revenue am I bringing in from subscriptions, and your goal should be as much as possible to grow that percentage. You should try to increase the AOV of checkouts and recurring orders. You should try as much as possible to reduce churn, and in so doing have a net positive number month over month for your subscribers. And then lastly, you should be taking a look at your cohorts so that you know when to spend most of your efforts in debugging a customer journey. Now, to be clear, I showed you those numbers on Recharge, but again, the platforms are more similar than different. Some other platforms make it a little bit harder to track the individual KPIs, but you can do this across all platforms. At the end of the day, it's just slightly more time consuming, and you will probably need to pull out the spreadsheet anyway, because even on Recharge, it's not that easy to crunch the numbers within the platform. So don't put your spreadsheets away just yet, because they're likely going to be helpful. Now, I'm going to walk you through our proprietary LTV partner framework, which essentially covers the KPIs just from a different and platform agnostic angle. The way we look at this, your objective as a business is to optimize your LTV to CAC ratio. LTV is the value that the customer has over the lifetime, and CAC is the cost to acquire a customer. And again, if you really think about this from the context of a subscription business, it has 3 main pillars: grow your subscriber base, decrease the number of subscribers you lose, and then get them to spend more money over time and with every order, whether that's the checkout or the recurring order. And all of those 3 pillars have their own sub KPIs, some of which I showed you in Recharge. But again, if you want to be a little bit more granular, I find that this framework strikes the perfect balance between being too high level and being too narrow and too specific, so that it becomes overly complex. What this framework tells you is that if you want to grow your subscriber base, you need to do the following. You need to grow the percentage of orders that start as a subscription. As I showed you on Recharge, that would be the revenue that comes from subscription, just with orders instead of the absolute revenue number. Then you want to be converting those that buy as one-time purchasers into subscription customers. Second, super important KPI. And the third KPI is that how many subscribers that cancel do you actually reactivate? That's your reactivation rate. Pillar number 2, you have churn. Okay, we want to reduce the number of people that are canceling their subscription, but if you think about it, this has sub components. It has voluntary churn. Those are people that go through your cancellation flow. There is a video in this YouTube channel on how you can optimize your cancellation flow. It's going to be tremendously helpful for you if you don't know how to do this. Then it's reducing passive churn. This goes into recovering payments. Then there's month 0 or pre-renewal churn and order to retention rate. That has to do basically with how well you onboard people and whether people are just subscribing to get a discount and then they cancel right away. There's ways to combat this. You should be tracking this. It's a very big lever for you. If you think about it, if you increase your month 0 or order to retention rate, everything else down the line benefits, right? Because that's where everything starts. And then pillar 3, very simple: checkout order AOV, recurring order AOV, and then retention rate by orders. We prefer to look at this by orders because, again, the month retention can be misleading if you are selling in different frequencies than monthly, which most of you probably do. Then once you have this optimized, you will be having a very strong subscription business. And there's 2 main scenarios that I see usually. People either struggle when it comes to the percentage of orders that start as a subscription, or they have very high churn. Those are the 2 main ones. There's, of course, as many scenarios as there are companies, but if we were to extrapolate and extract some trends, those would be the 2 main ones. So in this video, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice in terms of doing optimizing both KPIs, but what you actually want to be doing is tracking all of those, having a roadmap and having activities that over time help optimize most, starting with the one that's most problematic, the biggest constraint. If your churn is high, Don't focus on growing percentage of orders that start as subscription, and then vice versa. If your churn is low and you don't have many new subscribers, don't focus on churn, focus on acquiring more subscribers. But in terms of acquiring more subscribers, what you want to be doing in a nutshell is this. You want to have upgrades for OTP customers in your cart and checkout, and even your post-purchase upsells that nudge one-time purchasers to become subscribers. This will be very, very helpful. And then while you're at it, you might as well have them upgrade in terms of the number of units that they buy. So if you're selling this vitamin pill and they buy 1 month worth of vitamin pill, have a nudge to get them to upgrade to 3 months. And if they buy 3, to upgrade to 6 months. If you do this, it will simultaneously increase the percentage of people that become subscribers, and it will also increase the AOV of both your checkout and your recurring orders. And of course, how do you do this? You make it a better deal when they buy more, and you make it an even better deal when they subscribe. So you should have buy in bulk options, and then they should be saving more money when they buy more. And then when it comes to the subscription program, you should, of course, have an even bigger offer for subscriptions. But on top of this, you should be unlocking perks when they buy in large initial bundles. Now, let's talk a little bit about reducing churn, because that's probably another problem metric that you have. Most of you are misled to believe that the way to lower churn is to actually improve your Klaviyo related automations and then send emails that educate customers. There is a time and place for that, and it does help with what we call customer onboarding and helping people experience a quick win and then build affinity for the brand and then be more likely to stay committed and so on. But this is actually the last piece you should be focusing on. The first piece you should be focusing on is the cancellation flow on your website. Fundamentally, what you want to do is the following. Understand why do people cancel. You can do this through a survey. Create custom cancellation reasons within the cancellation flow, and then have a custom treatment for it. And then on top of this, you want to have what we call a benefits page at the very beginning of the cancellation flow, reminding people of the program they subscribed to in the first place. Lastly, you want to have cancellation offers at the very end, essentially a last-ditch attempt to get people to stay with your subscription program. For example, you might offer them a discount for their next 3 orders. Why 3 orders instead of 1 order? So that they are incentivized to stick to your subscription even longer than they would have otherwise stayed. And believe it or not, in just this short video, you've learned what KPIs you should be tracking as a subscription business. Obviously, if you need expert help, feel free to contact me. There is a link down below in the description. We've done this over and over and over again. We've done this for small brands, for big brands, and for really big brands. We know how to help you track and, most importantly, optimize all of the numbers that I walked you through, starting with your landing page and your subscription widget or buy box, all the way to your long-term retention that happens through lifecycle marketing. If this was helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment below telling me what topic would you like me to cover next.